ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕ್ಕ ಆರೋಗ್ಯಧಾಮ ಮೆಡಿಟೇಷನ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆಧಾರದ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷ ಸಂಚಿಕೆ ಇದೆ. ಈ ವಿಶೇಷ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ನಮ್ಗೆ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋರು ಸುಪ್ರಿಯಾ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರು. ವಾಸುಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರು ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಚಯನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಣ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಣಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಟುಡೇ is a very special program we are doing for youth and parents. So this is a very important topic these days because of all the things happening in the country and all the things happening post-COVID. So there are a lot of things on parents' mind and youth mind, and we will talk about these items in the next 3 sessions. Let me share the topics we want to share in the next few sessions. So we're going to talk about stress management, how to do stress management in the family, how to foster a positive environment in the family, and the next week that's going to happen. And then the third week we're going to talk about goal setting and harmonious communication. So number of interesting topics we'll cover, and all these topics will be in interactive mode and experiential mode. So Supriya Reddy will be walking us through some exercises we can all do together as a family, and then see how we can benefit us. Always believe in mental pictorial models of what we want to do. So here is a pictorial way of thinking about what we are going to do in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to talk about harmonious, loving and stress-free family, how to create it. So these are the tools that we are going to use to create that condition. We have talked about meditation, rejuvenation and prayer. Those are the foundational building blocks that is there in this heartfulness practice. So without the foundation, building will not be successful. So we are doing this almost every session. We'll continue to do this, and this will be the foundation building blocks. On top of that, today we'll talk about what are the values and principles that will outline our behavior. Stephen Covey always says, begin with the end in mind. So what are the outcome that we want to achieve by all this program that we're going to do in the next 3 weeks? We'll talk about that a little bit today. We'll also talk about in the next couple of sessions about harmonious communications, how to communicate in a positive way, how to have positive emotions with affirmations and other tools that Supriya Reddy is going to teach us, emotional balance, emotional intelligence, how to achieve goals, good sleep habits and self-reflection. There are a lot of tools we're going to learn in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to start with some inspiring quotes also. So we're going to see that Marshall Rosenberg, we're going to talk about him a little bit. So he is a champion of non-violent communications or compassionate communications. One of the quotes he says is, every criticism, judgment, diagnosis, expression of anger is the tragic expression of an unmet need. That is what he says. When somebody gets angry, there is always what is an unmet need behind it. So they're trying to satisfy their need, but they don't know how to do it. So they do it by getting angry or getting fearful. So let's not look at the superficial reactions, but go deeper into what really that person is trying to do. That will help in having harmonious communications. Maulana Rumi expands this even further, saying, out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. So we label many of the behavior as something is wrong, something is right. So if we go deeper into that and see the unmet need behind all this behavior, we are going to go into a space where there is no right or wrong doesn't exist. We take everything that comes to us in a very harmonious way. It's a very powerful quote. We'll get into that more. And Viktor Frankl has written a book on man's search for meaning. He was a doctor in the Nazi concentration camp. They let him live, he survived, but he wrote a book on that. One of the most powerful quotes from that book is, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. So this will underlie many of the tools we're going to talk about. The power of pause. When somebody says something to you, you don't need to react immediately. Just taking a simple pause and observing breathing can help it gives us back our power to choose our response. We can always choose to respond in a positive way, whatever be the stimulus, or the other person is saying. So these are some powerful practices we'll get into. And then the values exercise I talked about. So what are the values we want to be an outcome of this exercise? So as Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. So it's an interactive exercise. I want everybody to chime in. There is no right or wrong answer. So what are the values you think? I would like to get some examples from people that you want to be the family to represent. So it can be a family, even you can write it down as a family exercise together, print it and put it in the refrigerator, so that it reminds us daily when we are doing this family activities, how are we relating to each other, what are the values we're representing. So it's a very powerful exercise, come from the coaching area. So I would like to get one or two examples of what are the values that people think should be represented in a family. There are no right or wrong answer. Every answer is a right answer. Any suggestions? You can just chime in. Anuradha, you want to chime in something?
Yeah, greeting each other cheerfully.
Okay, that's a good value. Yes, that's a good one. Supriya, do you want to add anything?
Respect.
Respect is a good one. Yes. There are many such things. I've just put some examples here, so you can look at some of them. Compassion, creativity, I think Anuradha talked about that. And these are some of the things, just example. There is no right or wrong answer. I suggest everybody go through that in the interactive mode with their family and come up with a list. Put it in the refrigerator. So this is where we want to get to. We may not get there in day one. It may take years, long time to get there. But as long as we have the goal in mind, we'll be able to do that. So with that, I want to formally introduce Supriya Reddy. She is a Heartfulness trainer and a coach for the Heartfulness schools project, high school project. So she frequently interacts with the high school students, parents. She is very much tuned into what their challenges they face and what are their what are the remedies that they can do. So she is a great guest speaker to have for the next couple of weeks. So we'll welcome her once more and hand it over to her. Welcome, Supriya. So.
For the introduction, Ellarikkum Namaskaragallu. And we can get started with our presentation today. So welcome to our very first webinar from Heartful Schools, Stress to De-Stress, Self-Care Through Heartfulness. So what we'll be doing is that our presentation is going to be divided into two parts. Part one, we'll look into some statistics and stress in teenagers. We'll do a short stress to de-stress activity. And then in part two of our presentation, I'll walk you through a guided relaxation and we'll meditate together. And I'll also be sharing some resources on how to access these wonderful tools for stress management. And I'll talk a little bit about Heartful Schools and Heartfulness Institute, which is the parent organization for Heartful Schools. So over to the next slide, please. Let's go to the feelings check-in slide, please. So before we get started, let's take a quick look at how we're feeling today. So let's connect to ourselves, check in to see how we're feeling today, and we can feel free to put it in the chat box. So we have a poster here that you could use. So if you could kindly, maybe, is there a way to enlarge the poster? Is it visible to everyone?
Can everybody see it? I think it's big enough, I think. So let me see.
Yeah.
Make it bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So you could pick something from this poster. For example, I'm feeling very excited to be with all of you here today. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my chat box, we, because I feel like I'm part of a bigger community. So I'm going to put in we and excited. Okay. So feel free to drop in something in the chat box as to how you're feeling today. Love to know how everyone's feeling this morning. Let's see if we're getting any responses. Happy to be listening to this talk. Thank you. Curious, nice. Happy, nice. All right. So thank you for sharing. So let's go into our next part of our program. Over to the next slide, please. So we'll go into our stress to de-stress activity. But before that, let's just take a look at some statistics. Over to the next slide, please. So according to the National Institute of Mental Health, 38% of female teens have anxiety disorders, and 26.1% of male teens have an anxiety disorder. And according to the American Psychological Association, 36% of teens say they feel tired because of stress. And 42% of teens don't feel that they're doing enough to manage their stress. So just imagine the amount of stress that our youth is facing today. So today we'll just look at a short stress to de-stress activity. Over to the next slide, please. So if you could kindly bring your notepads and your pens, we'll take a look at some of our stressors. We'll make a quick list of some of our stressors. Over to the next slide, please. So let's list down 5 things that cause stress to us on a daily basis, some stressors. And what do we do to de-stress? So we can take a few minutes to write down 5 stresses in our life. And what do we do to de-stress? For example, whenever I feel stressed, I listen to some soothing music, or I go for a walk in my neighborhood. So you could just take a few minutes to jot that down, and we'll come back and discuss further on that. So I invite you to go ahead and start making a list. So you can use this table, for example. Some of the things that cause stress to us are deadlines, projects, pressed for time. And we have some solutions. Some folks work harder and focus and collaborate with peers in order to de-stress. And when they feel like they're too pressured for the time, they come up with time management strategies. So feel free to think about 5 things and make a list, and we'll come back in a couple of minutes. And if anyone is done and would like to share in the chat box one topic that is a stressor and what they do to de-stress, you could go ahead and type it in the chat box. Too many activities. That's a stressor. Right? And what do you do to de-stress? Make a to-do list. What to cook every day, true. That is a cause of stress for a lot of us. Yep. If there are any teens with us today, they could feel free to share as well. School, and I usually take a walk to give myself a break. Nice. Wanting things to be perfect. That's a good one. That can cause a lot of stress. Yeah. So this was just a sample, just for us to introspect, to see that we all are facing stress on a day-to-day basis. And we all have different ways that we cope with this stress, right? So today we'll look at a very important topic of stress management. If everyone is done, we could go to the next slide, please. So if we can take a look at this curve, the bell shape of the curve shows how different people cope with stress. If we have too little stress, we could feel inactive or laid back. An optimum level of stress is needed for us to feel active and to maintain an optimal level of performance, right? But when it becomes too much, we start feeling fatigue up to a point of exhaustion. And at that point, we feel that it's an overload, there's too much stress, right? And if we don't manage this stress and keep it at an optimal level, then it could lead to anxiety, panic, anger, and even breakdown. That's when we start feeling burnout. So in order to maintain this optimum level of stress, we all have different ways that we manage it. Like we jotted down in our journals and discussed, right? So today in part 2 of our workshop, I'll be sharing a couple of wonderful tools from Heartfulness that can help manage our stress and help us maintain it at this optimal level. So let's go over to part 2 of our workshop. So Heartfulness tools explore our own inner resources and can help us feel relaxed and recover from stressful situations. We have a total of 5 tools. We have relaxation and meditation, which we will be doing today. We have rejuvenation, heartful affirmations, and breathing with awareness of purpose, which we will be exploring in the coming weeks. So now I'd invite you to join me in a relaxation exercise. If you could find a quiet place and turn off your notifications, we can start our guided relaxation exercise. And we'll go into a quiet meditation, start with the relaxation and end with the short meditation where we go into our hearts and relax ourselves. I'd invite you to get ready for our exercise. Take a minute to settle down in a comfortable chair. And if you'd like to sit cross-legged, you're welcome to do that. So let's take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out. And we're going to start with our feet. Let's have a suggestion. that a very relaxing energy is flowing from Mother Earth into our toes, completely relaxing them. Feel our ankles relax. And feel the relaxing energy move up into our calf muscles and our knees, completely relaxing them. The relaxing energy is moving upwards into the thigh muscles, completely relaxing them. The entire lower body is now completely relaxed. Let's take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out, and relax. Feel the relaxing energy move up into our abdominal area, completely relaxing the stomach muscles. The entire waist and lower back is relaxed. Feel the relaxing energy move up into the back, all the way from the top of the spine to the tip of the tailbone. Feel your entire back relax into the chair. Take a deep breath in, breathe out, relax. Feel the relaxing energy flow into the front of the body, completely relaxing the chest muscles, the entire rib cage, the entire torso is now relaxed. The relaxing energy is now flowing into the shoulders. Feel your shoulders completely melt away, almost becoming like liquid. And feel this relaxing energy flow into your arms, elbows, all the way into your fingertips. Completely relaxing your hands, fingers, fingertips. Relaxing energy is moving into your neck muscles, completely relaxing them. Feel the relaxing energy move into your face, completely relaxing your facial muscles. Feel your jaws, mouth, nose, ears, eyes, forehead, the top of your head, the back of your head. completely relax. Let's take a moment to scan the entire body. If you feel tension in any part of your body, gently suggest that it might relax with the healing energy from Mother Earth. When you're ready, gently move your attention to your heart and rest there for a little while. Feel immersed in the love and light in your heart. Remain still and quiet and slowly become absorbed within. Think that the light is attracting you from within. Let your awareness rest in your heart and feel yourself melting into this awareness. Gently relax into the feeling. If you find your awareness drifting to other thoughts, do not fight them, so do not entertain them. Let them be, while simply reminding yourself that you're meditating on the source of light in your heart. Allow yourself to become more and more absorbed within. You might relax into a deep state that feels like sleep. That's okay. Remain absorbed within this deep silence until you hear me say that's all. Please begin meditation. song. With your eyes closed, just observe how you feel. What emotions do you currently have? Observe yourself and slowly open your eyes whenever you're ready. Feel free to return to this relaxed and peaceful state of mind throughout the day, whenever you would like. We go to the next slide, please. How do we feel slide? If anyone would like to share how they're feeling, please go ahead and type in the chat box. Refreshed, nice, peaceful, nice, calm. A lot of wonderful responses. Relax, nice. A lot of wonderful responses. So this is a short relaxation and meditation exercise that we share with our teens. So when I go into high schools and present to students, I share this technique with them and I immediately see the difference in how they feel. And a lot of them write to me, they say that they use it before exams. I encourage them to use this technique, when they have a very difficult project coming up or an assignment or before the exams. It doesn't take much time and it's a great tool that helps them feel relaxed. And I also tell them to add a few of their, own thoughts and give it their own flavor when they're doing the relaxation. For example, I tell them, think that everything you need is already present within your own heart when you feel overwhelmed. And sit with that thought in silence for a few minutes. And a lot of kids have shared with me that they feel very empowered when they think on those lines. Everything I need is already present within my own heart. And then meditate on that idea. So this is a very short technique, doesn't take much time, and it's a great tool that we can add to our toolbox in order to manage our stress in a better way. So I'll quickly share some of our resources that you could use to access these tools. Over to the next slide, please. The next slide, please. So you could visit heartfulschools.org, we have the audio and script of the guided relaxation and meditation. You could also download an app which is called Heartbot, which was made by 2 high school students. It's a great app. You can download it for free. The only catch is that it's only available on iOS devices. It's called Heartbot, and you have different options. You have breathing, affirmations, which we're going to be talking about next week. You have the relaxation meditation that we did today. And these are very short exercises for kids to use. A lot of teens that I've worked with have downloaded this app onto their iPads or iPhones, and they've shared with me that it really helps them. So just some quick resources. Over to the next slide, please. So let's take a quick look at Heartfulness Institute. Our mission is to offer humanity a simple and effective set of practices for relaxation, meditation, regulating the mind, building inner strength and attitudes to create a lasting sense of fulfillment and overall well-being. Heartfulness Institute is a nonprofit organization offering relaxation and meditation practices that facilitate the development of inner potential. It's offered to people, individuals, institutions such as schools, colleges, government offices, hospitals, corporations, etc. And it's offered largely through a volunteer base. And our presence, originating in India, this meditation has been offered free of charge for over 70 years to one and all. And today, heartfulness is practiced by more than 1 million people in 130 countries from all walks of life, and is supported by more than 7,000 trainers. It is the parent organization for Heartful Schools. And I could give you our email and our website information. The next slide, please. If anyone is interested in knowing more about our program, you could please visit www.heartfulschools.org. And you could even write to us at edu@heartfulnessinstitute.org to know more about our programs. And over to you, Brother Vasumurthy, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to unmute.
Thank you for a wonderful session. We can open up for Q&A. Any questions you have? I think let me start off with one thing that I heard we had in the local Kannada community. We had a program this Thursday. Some of the themes I heard, some of the questions I heard was, how do we give space to our children? How can we be friends with them? So along those lines, there are a lot of questions along those lines. If you have any thoughts on that, because when we were being parented, when our parents raised us, is a different era and a different country. So the situation in this country is entirely different. So I'm sure you face this question a lot. So if you can share your thoughts on this, then we can open it for other questions.
Would anyone else like to answer to make it a discussion?
Yeah, feel free to chime in. There's an open conversation. Want to make it interactive.
I'd like to hear some of your thoughts. So this is a very important topic these days, as you had rightly mentioned. And I do see a lot of stress among teens in our program, when we go into schools and we work with young minds. They really want to learn. They want to learn. And I had a very interesting interaction with a young man recently. He's a junior in high school. And he mentioned something very interesting. He said that his parents always put mental health above everything. And they had him journal 5 things that he was grateful for from a young age. And I was like totally fascinated when I met this young man, because he's very happy and has a very good attitude towards life. And a simple thing like just maintaining a gratitude journal can create such a powerful impact on a young mind. It was a very profound experience. And to see that parents are, stepping in and doing this for their children was something very heartening for me too.
Yeah, that's a very powerful exercise. Gratitude journaling is one of the best tools we can do, and if we can do it as a family, that's even more powerful.
And he told me that his parents have made this a habit with him and his
Wow.
siblings from a young age. So it's great to see parents getting involved and,
Yes, yeah.
taking charge and putting mental health above everything. And the child is thriving. He's doing very well in school as well.
Nice.
Go
nice.
ahead, Manu. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's always a very fine line. We feel like, like you have to stop advising at a certain level, and then see, it's like we don't know whether we're giving them too much, or we feel sometimes if we don't tell anything, then they might not do anything at all. Like, then so you start giving them ideas and tips and guidance, but then we should know where to stop. Then if it becomes a little too much, then it'll stress them. So that's a fine line. It's very hard to we don't know where exactly to stop. Sometimes it becomes too much, sometimes it becomes too less. So I think that technique, we are like trying to learn every day, but
Right.
it's always like trial and error every day. It depends on the kids. Like sometimes they're also in a good mood, they take it well.
Yeah.
And some days they don't take it well, even if you just say a little bit. So it's very hard. Like, we feel like parenting is definitely very hard.
Yes, it is very challenging. And I really like that stress curve.
Yeah.
Having that optimal amount of stress is very important, because if there is absolutely zero stress, then, they're not going to feel motivated. So having that fine line to see how much they can handle, sometimes we tend to push them too much, and then they go to a point of breakdown. So if we're able to identify how much they can handle, and then gently, subtly push them to do their best and be a best version of themselves. As you mentioned, it is a fine line, and just to be aware of how they feel. That's why I like the feelings check-in. We could also check in as to how we're feeling before communicating with them.
Exactly.
Coming from a place of fear, or coming from a place where we want to motivate them.
Yeah.
I think that would be very helpful to first check in with ourselves, because one thing that I felt as a parent, there were times when my kids were in high school, pushing them, with their SATs and college applications. I noticed that I was coming from a place of fear, anxiety, what's going to happen in the future. And that's when I realized that I needed to stop and come more from a place of understanding as to how they're feeling. Because when I was afraid, I felt that fear was getting transmitted to them, and they were feeling anxious. So I realized that I was causing anxiety in them. So I stepped back, checked in, and went more from a place of, encouraging them to do their best rather than fear. So I think that is an important place to start, I guess, from checking.
I know.
And as Brother Vasamurthy had mentioned about the values, the objective, what is the end goal, right?
Yeah, that's a good point, Supriya Reddy.
Yes.
The question is, now there are two different scenarios. One is parents' anxiety and kids' anxiety. That is one side.
Yes.
And that may be probably 20% of the parents involved with the kids. And 80% may be, they may be busy in their world.
Yes.
And kids, they have peer pressure in schools, they have their own anxiety
Yes.
and all that. And Heartfulness grew. You guys are developing the high school syllabus or some
Yes.
activity. And in a scenario where parents do not get involved and kids, they have their own, looking at what is happening in America now, the shootouts or some, like you said, exam pressures or some other thing. Is there any basic 101 that kids has to follow just to get out of that peak stress? You showed me the parabolic curve, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Before going to the peak, can we mitigate them
Yes.
so that they are below some 25 or 30% of the stress level? How we can achieve that?
Yes, that's a very good question. And that's exactly what our objective is. Heartful Schools. We offer programs in several schools. In New York, we have, New Jersey, we have several schools. In New York, one school where we've offered the program to teachers. We train teachers to bring it into the classroom. So kids are learning to practice these techniques on a daily basis. So what we've realized is when children are able to incorporate these practices on a daily basis, they're able to be at that optimum level of stress and manage their stress better. And they're able to do great in school because they're able to manage the peer pressure and everything. So we have a wonderful program, and I would welcome you to check out our website. And we are planning to expand. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, in that case, if you guys already have a program,
yes,
which is successful in New York, New Jersey area, and other areas, probably we should take that as an example, spread to our Kannada quotas all around US.
Absolutely.
We recommend them to do some kind of, they have some Kannada schools that is going on.
Absolutely.
Maybe we should plan on introducing this also as part of their curriculum.
Yes.
So at least even if 10% of the kids are benefited, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
That is the reason when we talked to Vasumurthy and Mani was talking to him, we had to do at least these are some lots these sessions. We should have some meaningful contribution to our society. So with these 3 sessions, we can take it to our different Kannada quotas and their Kannada schools.
Yes.
So they can bring this practice to our kids. So even if 10% of that population gets benefited, I think AKKA will be very grateful to Heartfulness.
Absolutely. I would love to help out. Yeah. And I'd also like to share that we do have a training program. We have ongoing training programs where parents get involved. Like say, for example, if you want to bring this program into your school, we have a program where we can train you, and everything is offered free of cost. All our programs are free. So you can undergo the training. We'll give you all the material, all the resources to engage with your local school, the principals. And in California, there's several schools that are already, we have Heartful schools in several schools, and in Texas, an entire school district. They're offering this program in several schools in their school district. So our goal is to bring it to as many kids as we can, so that this becomes a part of their day-to-day life, where they learn healthy ways to manage stress in their lives.
Very good.
Dayananda, that's an excellent suggestion.
Yes.
Sorry, one comment. So I think what Dayananda was suggesting is, the Kannada quotas run the Kannada programs. So then add these kind of elements into the Kannada program, that will be a great addition to the Kannada community and everybody. So it's excellent suggestion, Dayananda. So
I think to start with, we can adopt 1 or 2 Kannada quotas as a pilot program.
Yeah.
Since Supriya Seddi they had done in New York schools.
Yes.
And you guys already have the experience and curriculum. Let us see how that goes and what is the benefit out of it.
Absolutely. I'd love to help out in any way. And, we have wonderful material. And as I said, I've noticed that kids, when they just sit with the relaxation and just the thought that, the simple suggestion that everything I need is already in my own heart, just that one line makes a huge difference. It's amazing to see the transformation.
Yeah, that is interesting. You know, the other day, Naren Kini, he did a couple of sessions. He was mentioning he will guide his kid every night. They have to do 10 minutes heartfulness prayer, and next day they are fresh, and that became their habit, and they are pretty good.
Yes.
So don't have stress and all that. Some simple things like that.
Yes.
Like canonically, they have some set curriculum. If they have for the meditation, if they have some set curriculum, and we had to induce that to the kids, that become, without their knowledge, that becomes their practice.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. We can definitely work on a program, and we have all the material in our Heartful Schools, self-care.
Yeah, even a simple thing like a guided relaxation, which is available on YouTube as a video. So you can just play the video and just relax according to the guided video. That itself is a great tool. Take 6 minutes and relax, body and mind quite a bit. A very simple tool.
That's good.
Anuradha, you had a question, I think. So,
Yeah. One is I have downloaded your app and see all the techniques over there. So that is good. And then another comment I wanted to make about transmission of anxiety and fear to other individuals. I mean, especially kids.
Yes.
Don't have to even tell them you're anxious, even silently. If you experience in your mind, I think that gets transmitted to the other around you. So very important to take control of our own thought process.
Yes. And I'd also like to share one book that really helped me when my kids were in 11th grade, because I could feel the anxiety and, as you had mentioned, the peer pressure, right? Even they have their own anxiety about themselves, like I want to do well, and coming from everyone applying for colleges. There is one book that really helped me. It's called Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be. I can share the link. I can share it later. It's a great book. So that book really helped me understand, get in tune with my own feelings, and the entire process with my children went very smoothly after that. Because I was able to realize that I am getting anxious and it is getting transferred. As you mentioned very rightly, that just that feeling, right? That thought is enough. Yes.
Yeah, you don't need to say anything, they will feel it.
Yeah.
Yes,
So we stop ourselves, step back, that really makes a big difference. That pause, as Viktor Frankl's quote that you mentioned, the stimulus and response. You can just pause, it makes a huge difference.
Manivar, you made a very good comment, where to draw the line. So one of the tools in the heartfelt communications, one of the questions, we can help there is ask the question, when you say something to your children, how is it landing with you? Just ask the follow-up question. So how are you feeling from what I said? That will give you start a dialogue, then you can fine tune whether it's landing correctly or not. So that simple question also can help in getting the boundary right. So just, but it's a wonderful question. Yes.
Right.
So we got a couple of more minutes. Is there any other thoughts I want to discuss for 2 more minutes?
Yeah, this also is like a wonderful suggestion. Like, you take the training and then at least work with your local schools. So yeah, that also is I think it'll be a very good service if we do.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, we should maybe take the leadership and do something like that.
Absolutely. And everything is set up. We have all the resources that you need. You just need to go to the website and, sign up with us. And then we'll give you the format, the template for the email, what kind of email you could use to send to your teachers, principal. It's very well organized.
Yeah, my niece Sangeeta is here. So she may have a question. Hi, Sangeeta.
Hi. Actually, I've just been listening. I just wanted to make a comment. What you said earlier about how that 11th grader had mentioned about his parents asking and telling him, to write down 5 things that he's grateful for. I think that's really great because my parents also do that as well. And they kind of create like an openness, like, so I can feel like I can talk to them about anything. So, and that they listen. So to tell that they're there. So I think that's really great. But also I just wanted to say, I'm actually taking a summer course right now, and I have a literature review for my professor that I have to write. And one of the topics I chose to write is exploring the impacts of heartfulness meditation on individuals with a mental health diagnosis. And some of the articles I came across actually had to do with the heartfulness program for middle schoolers. And one article I found, I was like actually like really happy reading it because I saw like between, you know, the people with the control group that didn't have any of the heartfulness and then the heartfulness meditation group. Yeah. I mean, there were like significant changes in their life and just with their mental health as well. So I just wanted to say that it was really amazing to see that result. So
awesome. That's great,
yeah,
that you're doing the research project.
yeah.
And all that information is there on our website. We have a lot of research that's already been done, and you'll find a lot of wonderful material on the website. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Sangeeta.
That you were able to come in.
So we got 2 more minutes. So next week we'll talk about fostering positivity, right? You want to speak a few words, Supriya, on the topic?
It's a great program, and I've personally benefited from it, and I use positive affirmations all the time. It's something I learned from that particular session, and I'd love to share that topic with everyone. And, that's it from me. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed being with all of you here today.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really wonderful. And as I said, like we all learned a lot from it. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So, ಮುಂದಿನ ಶನಿವಾರ ಇದೇ ಸಮಯಕ್ಕೆ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ. Thank you.
Namaskar.